This isn't an in-depth story, but I had something crazy happen yesterday. The wildest day ever. Maybe not the wildest because I've had a lot of them, but let's start with work. So, if you guys know, sometimes I DoorDash, and I've been doing that a lot lately. And so I go out like I normally do, but the whole entire day was just like one thing after another. Like it just was like a movie or something. So I'm doing my shift and everything seems to be going fine according to plan. But after some time, my uh yeah, after like maybe I don't know 5 6 hours, which is a long time with DoorDash, but understandably, if you DoorDash and you know how it is, you got to work for hours and hours and hours. But I guess I would say halfway through my shift, maybe. Um, I make a turn to drop an order off and I hit this curb and there's like metal angle iron on the curb. I don't know if you've ever seen that before, but I hit it, it pierces my tire wall. Huge hole. I drop the order off. I don't realize it until I get back in the car to drive away. As soon as I get in the car, I realize that, okay, I've got a problem. Something doesn't sound right. I stop, I check the tire. Sure enough, it's a flat tire. I know how they feel by now. And I'm just like, oh man. And I started later in the day. So I think I started around 2 o'clock yesterday. So at this point, it would have been maybe, maybe it was a little long, maybe like 9 o'clock, something like that. Um, you know what, guys? I'm confusing a day with another day. Sorry, it was much later than that. It was like 1 a.m. in the morning. So I have that happen. And then after like realizing that the tire's flat and everything, I'm like, I hop on the phone. I'm like, where can I find a tire place? Where can I find a place that has 24-hour tires? It's 1 a.m. in the morning on a Tuesday. How the hell am I going to do this? And yeah, side note, sorry, I've been working a lot, so the sleep just isn't there. But anyway, getting back to the story. So that happens, and I'm like searching Google to find some type of tire place that I can go to fix this situation. And I'm probably a good hour from home by this point. I have migrated so much because when I do this, I'm really traveling everywhere. Um, so I'm searching and I do find a place. It's like a roadside assistance, which I don't have, but it's a place that will act like roadside assistance, come out, change your tire, do all that kind of thing. It's like $200. So I'm like, I really don't want to do this right now. Like, but what are my options? So, it was either that or driving home on this flat tire. So I ended up, I tell the guy, I'm like, all right, $200, like, I think I can swing that. And then I'm like looking to like see what my options are and like kind of looking like on the phone, like while he's on the phone, like, yeah, just hang on a second. I don't really know if I want to do that yet, but I think I can. And then like I'm like, all right, you know what? Just screw it. I'm like, don't come. Like I'll figure it out. I appreciate it. I'm all good. And I start to drive home. And then I'm like, man, this is getting really bad. Like the tire's like now coming off the rim. And it's about maybe because I had to go so slow, it's probably like I think it was like 1:30, 1:45 at this point. It's just getting later and I'm not really making any progress. And I'm screwing my car up. So I'm like, all right, like it's on the rim now. So I don't want to drive any further. I don't want to put damage and do other things to it. So hop back on the phone. I'm looking and looking. Finally, I come across this tire place, and at this point, I'm like, all right, this isn't bad luck here. Like what happened? It could have been worse. Like I find this tire place. They're open 24 hours, and I'm like, all right, let me go check it out. They're maybe 3 minutes down the road. So that part was like a win, and that fact that they were 24 hours. So I'm making my way slowly to there. I get there. I pay. It was like $50 or something for a new tire or whatever. I get it done. Free installation. Okay, that's cool. And then once I leave, like everything's good. And I'm like, I'm trying to get back into the swing of things, like trying to, because I had to like cancel. I was like in the middle of my last order and I had to like cancel and it was just a mess with that. So I get the app going and I'm driving, trying to reroute my route and figure out what I'm going to do. So I get that fired back up And as I'm doing that, I hit this like concrete mound that's just in the road. Like someone just poured it and left it. Like it's not supposed to be there. I promise you, it wasn't a median or anything like that. It was just this piece of concrete that someone obviously dropped out of a concrete truck, and it formed like kind of like a speed bump. So as I'm like, I have a hands-free thing. So as I'm looking to do that, I just go boom, boom over this thing, like bottom out and like slam onto the ground. And I mean, at this point, I'm like, dude, did I just like blow out both of my tires, especially the tire that I just bought because it was on the same side of the car? And luckily that did not happen. But to have that happen immediately after, I was like, dude, if this pops and I have to go back after just dealing with these guys 5 minutes ago, this is gonna be pretty embarrassing and pretty interesting. It's like, who could, like, what are you doing? Are you purposely like popping tires here? Anyway, so I'm like, all right, that's cool. Get back onto the route, trying to figure out where I'm going. As I'm driving and I have a new order, my communications shut off. No GPS, the phone just stops working entirely. Nothing, no service. I'm in the middle of the city. Like Philadelphia is where I live, and there's no reason why I should lose any service at all. Like I'm in the city, and then maybe not in Center City, but I'm in the city. I'm not in the woods somewhere or in the outskirts. I'm in the city. So it just cuts off. Never had that happen ever, and stops for a good 20 to 30 minutes. At this time, I'm in an area that I don't know well. I'm able to scroll on the map and like pinch and see my dot. That's all it will give me. But as far as like, having your GPS work like it would normally typically work, I had nothing. I couldn't call anybody. I couldn't text anybody. I couldn't tell anybody where I was. So that was kind of, interesting to deal with. And not only that, but my car currently right now, the charger within my car does not work. So anytime I drive in my car and I want to charge my phone, I need to make sure that it is plugged into a portable charger. So that's my battery. That's my source of battery. Like without that, I'm on my own. So if that dies, I'm done for. Anywho, so I'm driving around. I'm like, I think I remember this road. I think I need to go this way, and I'm kind of pinpointing where I need to go. And that was fine and all, but it made it so difficult. And keep in mind, or I didn't tell you, but mind you, it is raining. Like it was pretty much downpouring all yesterday. So I don't know if you guys also realize, but when you're driving at night and it's raining like that, the roads just look like mirrors. So you have bad terrain to deal with, basically, because I don't know if you've ever driven on the East Coast in general or in the city of Philadelphia, but there are potholes, there are sinkholes, there's construction, there's A, B, and C. It's everything. Bad drivers that are aggressive. I mean, people that you'll pull up to a light and within 10th of a second, they'll be honking at you to go the minute the light turns green. So you have aggressively, angrily, just people that are obnoxious, and it's not everybody, I won't say that, but you have all that. So keep that in mind. So I'm trying to deal with the situation of like the rain, the GPS not working. I'm trying to be hands-free because I want to be safe. I don't ever like to grab my phone or do anything on my phone. I like to have it, just like a GPS would that you have built into like a newer vehicle or a vehicle. But so yeah, I'm trying to navigate through all this. I got the hazards on, trying to figure out where I'm going. At one point, I'm like, all right, the phone's like kind of functioning. So I switch the hazards off and I begin driving again. And I know that I'm going in the right direction because the numbers are going down. And, considering where I was like west and I needed to go east. So I'm kind of slowly making my way, trying to be cautious with which turns I make, because I don't want to make it too technical right now. I don't want to drive in a series of neighborhoods or something where I have to like navigate down alleyways and things like that, because I don't know if some of you are aware but there is a lot of alleyways, a lot of skinny roads where people are parked or double parked. And then you have people also throwing their hazards on, making deliveries. And so, I mean, it's the city. So you have all this wildlife going on per se. So I'm trying to stay on main roads and navigate. And this is like probably the weirdest thing that has ever happened, because when you lose service, like, within maybe a few seconds to a minute, unless you're like somewhere way off like the beaten path, then that like your service is going to kick back on. But I mean, for this to happen in the city, I have never experienced this. And on top of that, like, this isn't a part where it's just unknown. And I've never lost service in this section before. And even though I've been in the place of Philly where I still didn't know exactly how to get home. So again, I'm trying to like navigate through this, and randomly, maybe about, I don't know, 6 minutes or so, maybe from my house, the GPS kicks on. Like nothing happened. Like, oh, hey, old friend, like I'm back to help you out. Like there's just no reason for it. Like I'm not saying that I have the best service, but it's T-Mobile. They're supposed to be reliable. I guess they've always seemed to be, but just very strange. And here's the thing about where my night goes as well. It's like there was just a series of weird events, because after that happened, I pull over. I'm like, all right, there's this place right here. It was like a 7-Eleven or something. I'm gonna go in and get a water because I just dealt with all that bull crap. And tell me this is not weird. I'm not a person that like that feeds it to like coincidences or whatever you want to call them. But I happen to like take a little break, and I have a video playing, and the video is like it's about GPSs, it's about how they work. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, I didn't speak about this. I know our phones listen to us. That's a given. They understand what we talk and what we like about, and if we click certain videos, and the algorithm shows those types of videos to you. It makes sense. But in this situation, I didn't speak about it. It's not like I verbally spoke about it in any way. But I just thought it was odd that the very first video that I put on is a video about GPSs and sending people to the wrong places and just failing altogether. I'm like, okay, that's pretty friggin' weird. But yeah, it doesn't stop there, because after this whole debacle with this thing, and I stop and I try to, I get my water and I take the break. After that, I'm driving, and I think I was, I don't know, maybe 3 minutes from my house. I don't know what happens, but I'm driving and my car just stalls out. I'm sitting at a light and it just stalls out. I'm like, what the hell is going on, man? Like, why is this all happening at once? So luckily I had enough momentum to like roll myself to the side, and I'm doing the necessary things. I'm like popping the trunk, looking under the hood. I'm not a big mechanics guy or big car guy anyway, but I'm like checking stuff out. I got the flashlight. It's dark out. I got rain on me. I'm trying to figure out what the hell is going on. I'm like, I know a little something like tap this here and there, check the oil, make sure your tires are good. I don't know, like stuff like that. Make sure there's no engine light on, or even if there is, it can be a misfire. But just checking for those things, making sure things are okay. Still have power. When I turn the car on, it lights up and everything. Still able to use my windows. Like I said, I still had power and everything. And I'm just sitting there. I'm like putting oil in it. Like, even though the oil it was kind of low, but I'm like sitting there like putting oil in the car. And then shortly after, I just, I shut the car off. I'm like, let me just give it like a few minutes. I'll shut it off. And then I'm like, all right, I don't want to see her anymore. Turn the car on. nothing at this point. Absolutely nothing. There's nothing. No power. So I went from having power to shutting it off and then trying to just turn it on halfway to have the power come on. Nothing. So I'm like, great. Now I'm stuck in the rain on the side of the road. I don't want to pay X amount of dollars to get towed because it's expensive, especially around the city. And now I'm just kind of left with nothing. I got my portable charger, but that's about it. So it's like, it's just weird, the trade-off that the phone stops working, but the car is working. But now the phone isn't, or now the car isn't working and the phone is. So it's like, what's the trade-off? Like, why is this happening? And I think at that moment, with everything going on, I just was very patient because I was like, if I get upset or stressed, it's not going to help my situation at all. In fact, it's going to cloud my judgment and my thought process, like my critical thinking. So there's no use in doing that. And I think also throughout this, this is kind of a side note here. If I were to get upset and stressed, I don't think that I would have been successful in managing this, because we all know that once you lose your temper or you get upset or sad or stressed or whatever, it's like a domino effect. It's one thing after another, and it just doesn't slow down from there. So by keeping calm also, I was just like, it is what it is. This is what I'm faced with. This is the reality of the situation. I kind of just kind of went with it. So after that happens, I'm sitting there and I get out of the car. I kind of walk around briefly, not really go for a walk because I don't want to leave my car, but I just kind of walk around briefly, like, let me walk this off a little bit. Like, let me understand what is happening right now, because it's pretty unbelievable. So just like the phone, no reason, I get back in the car, I put the key in, turn it on, fire it up. It starts right up. No problems, no lights, no nothing, no like sort of warning or anything. Just starts working again. Just magically, just starts working. What gives? I'm trying to understand how that makes sense. Make it make sense. It doesn't. But anyway, I'm glad that it did. So finally, I crank the car. Like I said, it turns back on and I am able to drive home. But I mean, this all happened in the span of, I don't know, an hour, something like that. Like getting the flat tire, having to quickly scramble to find somebody, end up finding a place that's a few minutes away, have to basically drive like a turtle to get there, but I make it. I do save a number of money on a tire, so that was good. And then hitting the concrete mound like minutes afterwards, and then the phone just dropping out of nowhere, and then the car doing it out of nowhere. It was literally like a scene from a movie. And it just makes you think, like, every moment, every moment working up to your day is a story. And I don't know, I just thought about like all of the things that go on a day-to-day basis, and it's more interesting than like people think it is. And I'm not that I'm having like an epiphany here with like vlogging or anything like that, but I'm just saying, like, we're always like searching for things that are like interesting and things that happen. Like, could I have told that story a little bit better? Absolutely. But I didn't understand. I didn't want to paint the picture for you right now, because honestly, if I were to paint this picture, we would have been here a lot longer. I told my story in like 20 minutes. Now, could I have told it a little bit faster? Yeah. Could I have said that, hey, listen, guys, last night I went door dashing, got a flat, realized I had a flat, tried to call somebody, it was $200 here, found this place down the road here, and then was able to get a tire for cheap. After that, I hit a concrete mound, thought I blew out both my tires. Then shortly thereafter, I used my cell phone. It wouldn't work. It just dropped out of nowhere. And then it kicked back on randomly. And then as I'm going home, and I'm about a few minutes from home, my car just cuts off entirely with no power. I crank it on, nothing to avail. And then finally I turn it on and it works. Sure. But, this isn't a lesson here or anything. This isn't, there's not some kind of like, real solution, I guess, to this story. Not a one-take solution, but I'm just saying that, like, with that being said, what I just talked about, and like just breaking it down like that and very short, it was a little bit better. It was a little bit better to tell it how I told it. And I went into this telling you guys that this isn't an in-depth story. This isn't something where I'm painting the picture, show not tell for you. Although you can get that from imagining my situation, but I didn't ultimately describe the situation minute by minute. You know what I mean? Like, could I have been like, oh, the rain was coming down and I'm squinting and I'm feeling the sweat perspire from my face and I'm stressed. My heart is elevating, and this guy comes up to me. He parks, and this big guy comes up to me, and he's got this weird grin on his face, and he walks up and he introduces himself and he puts out his big mug hand, and he shakes my hand and he says, I'm gonna tow you, and he throws his big, like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just telling you what it is, and I went into this telling you that's not an in-depth story, and I might sound like a freaking maniac right now talking about that, but I think you understand what I'm trying to say here. But getting back to what the main topic is about what had happened, it was just a series of events that were it's just life works in mysterious ways. Like, the glass is half full. I guess that's the real takeaway here, because although I dealt with a number of things, I was able to make it back home. I was able to, it could have been worse. And I know there's always that saying that it could always be worse. But in this situation, when you think about it, the fact that I got a flat tire, it sucks. But I was within minutes of a place that was 24 hours. So I was able to make it there. And on top of that, I was able to get a tire. They had my tire, because I have an older vehicle, and they put it on. I paid a cheap price and got it put on for the same price, a flat rate. And then I hit this mound, and that could have done something bad, but it actually didn't, to my surprise. And then the car cutting off and the phone cutting off, like, I could have had no phone and been completely stranded and no car. And what would I have done? I mean, at that point, I would have slept in the car off the side of the road, but you don't want to do that in the city, for one, but also I could have been majorly screwed, but somehow the phone kicked back on and the car kicked back on. So if that didn't happen, yeah, that would have really, really been awful. But here we are, I don't have to deal with a tow truck. I don't have to deal with anything. I'm not $200, $300, $400, out. So there it is,